Alright, welcome ladies and gentlemen to my thoughts. And today we are doing my thoughts on Soul Exodus. Now, I don't know if there are any other game that has the name Soul on it, but it looks really familiar. But this one, so far, I'm guessing is very simplistic in what you're supposed to do. Now, first thing off, let's talk about the gameplay. The gameplay is that you're controlling a ship based on the pitch of your mouth. So you pitch forward, basically go up, you pitch down, you go down, pitch left, right, blah blah blah, it moves in that direction. And it is a 360-degree pitch. You can pitch in any direction you want, and your spaceship will go in that direction. Now, the combat part of the gameplay is very, very simple in that you press the space bar to basically highlight a target of which they are in your crosshair, and then a small small yellow circle will appear in front of that ship to where you need to aim and shoot with your minigun or machine gun in order to hit that ship, and that's all you're going to be doing. Second thing you can do is lock on by using missiles. So you press and hold the W key to lock onto a ship, and then you wait until it locks on, and then you release it, and then the missiles will just fly there, and then you pray to the Lord of Space that it hits the ship. Alright, I don't know what the effective range of the missiles is. Sometimes the missiles hit, sometimes it doesn't, and the lock-on system is very iffy. The missiles will not fly in accordance, to what the fuck was that noise? It wouldn't fly, like it would just go straight into a building, even though you are aiming like right down from the building, and the missile just still fly into the building for some reason. I know it's a lock-on system, but isn't a lock-on missile supposed to be like it's supposed to fly straight for a certain amount of time and then it start locking on? I don't know. Third weapon you get is this energy orb thing. I don't even know what is it called in this game, but it does not tell you the effective range of this orb, energy ball, of which you can fire and it still hits an enemy. It doesn't tell you that in the game. So I found out that the effective range of that attack is 7 kilometers or less. Alright? For the energy ball to still hit its target. Now, it's extremely hit to hit any target that is moving faster than the speed of a snail. Alright? It's impossible to hit any target when they're moving faster than the speed of a snail in this game with that attack, because simply the attack doesn't it travel literally at the speed of a snail on screen. It's just so slow. What kind of energy weapon is that? I don't know. It's probably plasma, whatever, right? But I don't think any projectile would go that slow ever, especially in space. Alright? So, good luck hitting anything with that weapon other than, the bombers or the big gigantic ships. The dodging mechanics of this game is either to you can't really dodge fighters. They fire at you, you're bound to get hit. The point that I got into the game, they haven't gotten missiles yet, but I bet when you get missiles, the game will explain how to dodge them using another button that will like release something to help you dodge the missiles. And now that's all like conjecture. I don't know if that's actually true or not, but I'm by God hoping that's true, or else the combat is basically just what I told you. Alright, it's very simplistic. You get upgrades to your ship every time you complete a mission. Each mission you are guaranteed to get 1 point of upgrade after you complete that mission. Now, if you do a bonus objective, you get actually 2 points of upgrades. All right. I don't know if that changes in the course of the game, but that's what I found out so far. And the upgrades are again so simplistic. You get three types of upgrade: damage, defense, and booster. The damage upgrade increase your missile capacity by 2 and increase the damage of your minigun by some amount that the game does not tell you. The armor upgrade basically make your hull, your ship, more resistance to damage. The booster upgrade just allows you to boost for a longer extended period of time before your boosters runs out. That's all there is to the upgrade. I don't know if it changes or anything, but that's what it is, and that's what you're going to be playing for. What, like an hour and a half of game for the very first, this hour and a half, and that all you're going to be doing is using this simplistic fighting style to fight oncoming waves of enemy after waves of enemy after waves of enemy of the same type of enemy. There's nothing that you need to do to specialize in killing each of them. They added in bombers, to like mix things up, but they don't tell you how to kill these bombers. Well, the first bombers, you can kill them with like just firing into them. The second bombers take a lot longer to kill with your normal weapons. And even with missiles, if you watch my playthrough, it takes 4 or 5 missiles to kill them. What I found out is that you have to shoot that slow-moving ball of energy into these upgraded bombers in order to kill them with one hit. Now, how was I supposed to know that when the game doesn't tell you? Okay, I understand the game tell you that weapon is effective against these enemies, these bombers, but those were the unupgraded bombers. How was I supposed to know that these are still effective when the bombers have been upgraded? Since the game doesn't tell me, how was I supposed to know? Another part of this is the gameplay, the combat mechanic of this gameplay is that you fly into your ship to get repaired. How was I supposed to know that? Alright, I just like, hey, my ship has a giant hole in it, maybe I should fly into it and see what happens. Apparently, you get healed, and then you get replenished on your missiles. And that's how you keep fighting and fighting, and you're like a one-man army, which is ridiculous in the space battle, It doesn't happen that way. In a space battle, a one-man army doesn't work. So that aspect of the game is already like sort of far-fetched. Later on, you get a companion, but after you get the companion, I don't see him doing anything useful at all. So I don't know why he's even there. Anyways, but my point there is that the game doesn't tell you that you can repair your ship by flying into the ship, like into the repair zone, which I call it. I don't know what it's actually called because the game doesn't explain it to you. What else? We covered combat, we covered upgrades, we covered repair. Anything else in the gameplay? Oh, wait, is there anything else in the gameplay? Oh yeah, the hacking. All right, you may be like, hacking in a space game? What? No, it's not actually hacking. Okay, what happens is that there's this yellow triangular thing on screen. You put your cursor or crosshair over it, and you press the space bar. A small screen will appear in the bottom left corner of your HUD, and then a series of letters, numbers will appear in a certain sequence, and you read from left to right of what that sequence is, and then you have to remember them. After a few seconds, that box will go away and it will display the different combinations of numbers and letters, and then you have to remember what was the correct number and letter in a correct sequence, and then all you have to do is select that. After you select that, a number of options will appear for you to do. For example, you can disable the guns on the giant ship, you can disable their engine, you can disable their missiles, or you can turn the missiles and guns to your side for a few seconds. They will fight for you, they will kill the frigates, and they will kill the fighters that are around them. And so far, that's the extent of the combat in this game. and it has been an hour and a half into it, and the complexity is just so simplistic. Yeah, that was like a very odd combination of words there, but this game does not have a lot of complexity in its combat system or in its gameplay for that matters. Alright? It's very simple in what you can do. Um, Now, beyond the gameplay, you get graphics. So, how's the graphic play in this game? In my opinion, the graphic is very dull. Because in a space game, you expect it to be, spacey. It is. You can fly almost anywhere into outskirts of the entire battlefield, but it's only there for, uh, scenery. You wouldn't really necessarily fly out there. And you usually are contained to fight in like debris fields or asteroids or areas where you wouldn't expect spaceships to actually fight. Um, the graphic style is very old, in what I can tell. Um, the detail on these is just bad. Bad for a release that is, in this 21st century, or even in the 2010 and above. This game looks like the 2010 game, is what I'm trying to say here. Like I expected more. I understand that it's using the Unreal Engine. Um, I don't know what version of it it's using, but as you remember, the Unreal Engine is capable of producing something amazing. What was the game that came out last year that uses the Unreal Engine? I don't know. Crap. It, it's for some reason slipping my mind right now. Whatever that game is, okay, I remember it looks amazing. I don't know what, oh my gosh, what is that game? Now that's gonna bug me. Anyways, yeah, but I expect it to look a lot better than what it did. I also see that it has some major problem with anti-aliasing, and it's not my fault. Okay, my video setting for this game is on max, as you can see. All right, texture detail is max, world detail is max, shadow. I don't even know what this is, but it's enabled by default for me, so I don't know if that's affect anything. So it's on as max as I can get it. All right. Um, Resolution I know is not as max as possible, but I'm recording this, so I can't put it in full screen simply because I'm using a recording program. That would be pretty bad if whatever. That's my own problem. But the point is the graphical of this game is very low. So what is my final conclusion on this game? If you like a slow pace, literally slow, I don't see this as fast-paced action game at all. Alright, not for me anyways. And this is, again, I would like to remind some of you that this is my thoughts. Right? It's a video based on what I think of this game. I try to give you all the information I can, but in the end, I will give you my opinion. So my opinion is that this is not a fast-paced game. It's very slow. Alright, you're not constantly doing something other than holding down the left mouse button to shoot enemies. And that's not very fast-paced. Yes, you may pitch the mouse up, pitch the mouse down, but you don't necessarily control your vehicle in any way, shape, or form. Other than moving your mouse to focus onto your enemy. And that's something that is very boring to do in a space game, Another thing I have a problem with this game is not realistic. I know, space game being realistic. But, I really expected this game to have some kind of functionality, some kind of basic space knowledge in that if you speed up your ship will remain at that speed in space unless you have a opposite thrusters to slow your ship down. That is the basic concept of space. Alright? As you know, when you throw an object in space, it will continue traveling at that same speed until you slow it down by an opposite force. That is basic physics. Alright? You learned that in high school. Alright? I don't know why they didn't implement that into this game, but for some reason, when you speed up, you only speed up for the booster. You don't remain at that speed. And there comes the problem of the rockets having um, a fixed speed once you set them loose. Once you're letting a rocket go from inside your spaceship, the rocket is traveling at the same speed as your spaceship. And once the rocket fuel ignites, the rocket is supposed to be traveling faster than whatever speed you're releasing the rocket at. So technically, the rocket is supposed to be traveling faster than your ship. For some reason, when you release your rocket is way behind you. Like if you're using boosters, I mean, your rocket's just like way behind you, and you're flying ahead of the rocket, which makes no sense in the physics of space. But that's another problem I have with it. So, in all, the combat is slow for my taste. It's very boring for my taste. Um, the physics engine of this game is barely non-existent because I can fly into buildings and my ship doesn't explode. I can fly into other ships and my ship doesn't explode. The graphical of this game is very mediocre. It's like average. It's actually a bit less than average at this time and age. Right? It's a bit less than average. So it's not very appealing to look at everything in this game. The sound effects is also a major letdown. I get this in space, you're not even supposed to hear a sound, but this is a goddamn game. I expect to hear blasters like shooting all around me. I expect to hear when people are shooting at me. It's a game. I get that even though I said you need real physics in a like a spaceship simulator thing like this, but keep in mind it's still a game. You don't need actual physics, but it's just one of my little complaints of this game. But as for sound effects, I think everyone would agree to hear rockets flying at you, spaceship gun blasters blasting everything, you hear explosions everywhere. You would expect that from a spaceship battle, but you don't get that in this game. The sound is very... How would I say this? The sound is very, meh. It's just meh. It's not amazing in any way, it's not outstanding in any way, but it's not bad either, alright? You can still hear them, you can still notice that you're shooting, you being shot at, is okay. So, as always, I want to give you a number score on what I think this game is. Now, this number score, even though I didn't say it in my last, review of a game, it is completely based on my enjoyment of this game. It's not based on anything else. I don't include the price. I don't care if this is an indie game or not. Alright, I rate it based on what I think. And in my honest opinion, if I have to give this a number, I would say that this game is just an average game. And I can't give it any higher than a 5. So I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 because, it doesn't have amazing graphics. The game combat is slow. There's not a lot of complexity to the game. The sound is just mediocre. It's just plain. There's not amazingness to it. So, again, overall, I think this game is good if you want a slow-paced game that is set in space. If you want that type of game, it's just for you. A simplistic, slow-paced game set in space. Alright? But if you're anyone like me who wants a little more action, who expects games to look pretty decent, to expect to hear sounds, effects very often, then you're not going to enjoy this game. This game is a 5 out of 10 for me again, and that is my final opinion, and I will see you guys in my next video.